Hi guys, while you're at it, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. But I wanted to give you this trigger warning before getting into this topic. I'm not sure if you heard about it already, but Judge Joe Brown has been talking or got this interview that he did where he discussed 92% of men in prison have been with other men. He said that in Tennessee, Catherine Bowers, she got the government to pass a law where persons going into prison were tested for HIV and found that 4% of the men entering prison tested positive, but within 90 days or so, those men had a 66% rate of increase. And he said the probability of men on men sex was 92%. When you hear Judge Joe Brown's speech, you will learn that Tennessee was the fifth rated of the highest incarcerations. So that is one of the ways they were able to get their statistics. But Judge Joe Brown had also given recognition to Catherine Bowers for being the one to lead the way in getting the men tested. And he's going to share some stories with you of the cases that he presided on, and it was left up to his discretion whether or not to reveal the HIV status to the men, of the men to the women. I put this trigger warning in here again because I know other men will say, hey, I did not participate in that. And it's not saying 100% of men participate in that activity, but it's just saying these men did. So no one is saying it's 100%, and I think we would not risk saying 100%. Now, one thing I would like for everyone to note is that the numbers do not lie. Right now, there is a rise on syphilis. And also, I know in Arizona, the rise on HIV infection, and especially among women, is going up among Black women when there's a 5% representation of Blacks in the community, and then the increase is 18%. That is a lot.
Criminal court judge in Memphis, and at the time I was presiding on the bench in Memphis. Memphis had a dubious distinction of being number 5 in the nation in absolute numbers of state criminal charges that were prosecuted or resolved. It was Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Dallas, Memphis, Houston, Miami, and Detroit in that order. Now, 1991 and 2, CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, sent a special hit team to Memphis because of the extremely high incidence of HIV that had developed in the penal system in Memphis. Memphis has, or Shelby County, where Memphis is located, has the dubious distinction of having more inmates than any other county in the entirety of the United States. It's got a federal maximum security facility, a state medium and minor facility, and county facilities and juvenile facilities. Well, I wound up being the administrative judge for the criminal court, so I was in charge of what was going on. And what came out, thanks to a sister who went astray, Catherine Bowers, now deceased, she got a legislative act passed that required that somebody 18 to 25 who was locked up, sentenced, would have to be tested for STDs upon registration in the institution and upon release. So what CDC found out was that you were having 4 to 6% going in HIV positive, and after 3 months, 90 days, you were getting somewhere around 64, 66% HIV positive.
Hold on, Fire. You said it went from 4% to 60-something%?
Yeah, because what was going on is if somebody had been incarcerated for 9 months, there was a 92% probability that they had engaged in either voluntary or involuntary homosexual contact with some other inmate. The bad problem is that what was going on in, say, Memphis, is in certain areas of Memphis, you had a situation where 9 out of every 11 male blacks between 18 and 29 were not just on probation or parole, but were actually incarcerated. So what wound up happening is you had 8 out of every 13 females in the same group had the problem. But what was going on is the 2 out of 11 that had already done time were out there dealing with the remaining 4 women out of that group who were not on probation or parole. Typically, women didn't get the time, they got put on probation or parole more so than the guys. So you had a massive HIV problem. And I would have every last Thursday in the month reserved for petitions to suspend remainder of sentence, where people were locked up in the county system where I still had jurisdiction. So I can remember one instance where I had like 23, 24 people applying for petitions to suspend remainder of sentence on this one particular Thursday. And 11 of them were interesting because I'm reading their reports and they had each had homosexual contact with each other, and all of them were HIV positive. So their defense lawyers wanted to approach the bench and asked me as the court not to publish this. I said I'd take it under advisement. Now I'm listening to all of these women come in and they wanted their man back so they could take up habitation with him again and, set up the family. So instead of dealing with them one at a time, I dealt with all of them and reserved ruling. And I called all of these women back up. I was pretty good with names then. So I said, Miss Thompson, Miss Jackson, Ms. Willis, Miss So-and-so, would you please come back to the bar there? Said, now each of you has indicated that you wish to take back up with the individuals you have testified in support of. Is that correct, ma'am? So, okay. The court has been asked not to reveal this, but the court must, in the interest of public safety, disclose to you the fact that each of these individuals that you have testified in support of is HIV positive. 4 of them have active cases of AIDS. And that means, and one of them, oh, hell no, ma'am, please. What that means is if you have sex with them, you're dead. There is no known cure. This is like 93, 94. And the court feels that it must apprise you of the danger. See, but that was a regular thing. So you're looking at all of these people that are going for bad, and they've been booty busting each other. And see, not only that, there was another thing too, which dealt with rape. What was happening was very interesting. I'm not talking about these cases where it was a dispute over somebody said they were going to pay somebody's rent, so somebody got mad when they didn't and accused them of rape. I'm talking about when you had an actual rapist, and this has been going on longer than when I was on the bench because I was a criminal defense lawyer. So I would have somebody that, got a bogus case, somebody's mad at him and then they recant the rape accusation. And then I've got the ones that I know actually did something, all right? Invariably, what happened to them that I knew from being their defense lawyers and what I had as a continuing situation that I had to deal with as a judge was that somebody was walking along the streets in the projects and 4, 5, 6 guys jumped him. They stuck a pistol to his head and they just knocked him out and drug him into an abandoned apartment in the projects. and they hadn't lost the taste for what was going on in the jail, and they raped him.
Hold on, you talking about dudes raping dudes on the street?
Yeah, so they rape him, and as a matter of vengeance, to scapegoat somebody else, he would rape a woman later. Now, the other thing I knew from being a defense lawyer for a long time was this. You'd get these idiots that weren't raised right. So mama would come in at 15, when he was 15, and retain you to represent him in juvenile proceedings. So it'd be money coming in, you know, pay your secretary, pay your rent, and all of your expenses and stuff like that. So by the time this guy got 18, 19, mama wasn't paying so much anymore. He'd have 4 women come in. So you're getting money from 4 women, different women, to represent it, okay? He'd do his first serious time where he'd actually do 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 months and get out. The next time you saw him, it wouldn't be the 4 women, it would be 1 or 2 women and 3 dudes that were paying for him. And it was funny because over and over again, what would happen is the women would come in a month or 2, Lawyer Brown, I want my money back. Well, you can't get it back. I've signed on the jacket. What's the problem? That no good, Jamal. Look, let me tell you something. I started noticing all my Kotex were gone. And then I figured out, what is his butt bleeding like that for? And then I found out he was dealing with these 4 sissies down at the other end of the hallway in the same building I'm in, and then coming down trying to deal with me.
So, Judge, there's a real scary part to it because I'm not saying all, I don't want to be clear, right? But there are a lot of women within our community that have a infatuation with people who are in and out of prison.
I know. So if you're dealing with that, remember, 92% probability if they've been in there for 14 months that they've had voluntary or involuntary homosexual conduct or contact. Sag, bagged, and dragged is a good indication. Your pants holding down. First time I saw that was 1980. It was July. My law partner had died behind some mess representing some people in a drug cartel, all right? So I had filed for this delayed appeal on one of his clients that I was appointed to handle, all right? It's 105 degrees. This is the main penitentiary up in Nashville, and the air conditioning is broken down in the attorney-client visitation room. So if you didn't mind being out on the yard with them, they'd let you interview them out in the yard. So I've got a yellow tablet, and I'm out there taking notes on this guy's delayed appeal. So I looked up, and I saw somebody with pants hung down off his behind and a loose shirt tied in a knot in the front. So what the hell is that? And ordinarily, since they can't wear belts, these guys get these tailored jeans and stuff. He said, oh, Lawyer Brown, it's like this, man. You mean the dude with his pants hung down like that, man? It's like, look, all of us up in here doing long time of life, man, we got everything up in here except some soft booties, so we making them. That's man pussy over there. See, he doing short time, so that's the signal to everybody to bust him out, turn him out. See them over there with the dresses and the wigs and the weaves? We gonna turn them into that. So see them trees over there with his pants like that, man, when the guards ain't around, we bend them down, pull them down, get down. And when he on the block, man, you know, like we don't let him wear his pants, man, and he don't get to wear no panties. That shirt, that be his dress, man. We already done made him some jewelry up in metal shop, and Jamal got his baby sis sending him some mascara, rouge, lipstick, eyeshadow, and plastic nails. We girling dude out. So in the 1980s, when you were sagged and bagged, that meant you doing short time, turn him out. Make the booty wide open so anybody can do it. By the 1990s, it had morphed into that person belongs to somebody important. And you saw these dudes getting buffed out from pumping iron. That's so if anybody was busting them out, it was by choice rather than just taking it. So you get all these folks, the lower the sag, the cooler the do. No, you just look like you've been booty busted off in the joint. This has been going on for 45, 44 years. So what is it that is being shown? See, this thing spreads through the black community. It spreads through the mainstream community.
To the point where it's seen cool as doing time.
Yeah. Like, man, you don't want man, Earl, man, tell Jamal, man, he don't know what time it is, man. He got to do his time for, it's a man thing, so you got to understand. No. Why do you say you have to be in the slave quarters before you can understand manhood? That's because you never dealt with a man. See, everybody that's being a man got a job. He a little raggedy. His car's not cool. And mama's sitting up there. Look here. Mama done give you all this good loving. I know you got something for me. And then he comes by there. You better hurry up. You better get what you gonna get. You ain't gonna wallow up in this for that little piece of change all night long. And he hardly got up, wiped himself off, got to his ride, parked behind the dumpster, and he's left. And mama's on the phone, baby, you know that ring you wanted down in American Loan? Well, mama needs some good loving. You come over here tonight, give mama some good loving. We go shopping tomorrow. So the kid is watching somebody hustle his mama. Mama willingly gets hustled. And the guy that's got the job acting like a man, he's looking down on him. So I had a remarkable achievement, which was the statewide recidivism rate was universally about 80%. In my courtroom, it had dropped down to 18, and it was dropping when I retired in 2000. And what I was doing was showing these boys manhood and duty, honor, obligation, accountability. And 25 years later, 30 years later, I get folk walking up to me with a lot of gray hair. Judge, you remember me? No, I don't. Well, you gave me some time. Did I give you enough? Yeah, but it was that manhood thing. I'm a grandfather now, and all my grandchildren, I make them stay in school. I don't pay any, play that, you in school. And all my children are doing all right, and I've been married for 27 years. I want to thank you for what you did making me a man. And see, when you get people wanting to be a man, they don't tolerate all of this BS that everybody else says is normal. Well, not everybody, but too many say is normal because they've been propagandized. See, it used to be, Hillary Clinton bastardized something. She said, it is the responsibility of the village to raise the children, all right? That's a takeoff from a Yoruba proverb that says, O warrior or hunter, fear not if you die in the cause of your people, because your sons will be raised to manhood by your village to take your place. Manhood, not just raising children. And you see, our whole society now has been corrupted by toxic masculinity. And that comes from the late 60s when I used to hear all across the country, Black Student Alliance, we travel around and you'd hear these speeches about toxic masculinity. All masculinity is toxic and evil, therefore we must do something to change the way boys are raised to men. So you have unisex child rearing, unisex child clothing. Boys play with dolls, no war toys, cap guns, water pistols, or anything like that. It's all right for boys to cry, to be emotional. And the last damn thing you need is an emotional addition of the apex predator on the planet Earth that kills better than anything else walking, flying, or swimming, or slithering through the countryside.
Ladies, you just have to think about it. The Butte warrior, Fleece Johnson, he said he got tired of pleasuring himself, and he said they won't let you have a woman, so what else you gonna do? Somebody's gonna have to give it up. And you'd have to also think about someone that's in prison and their family is not having any contact with them. They meet somebody in there that share a similar lifestyle with them and they're around them a lot. they probably can't help but fall in love with each other. I've been told that there are some men who get outside and they see their prison husband out with the family, kids, and all that, but they have a very, very strong bromance in there. That's the only way to describe it. And you have some of them that have stores, and if a man is telling you he's preparing a package for other guys that's in there, there's some kind of fair exchange. He's probably exchanging, giving that for some kind of favor, if you know what I mean. Now, these guys have different codes. They take pictures a certain way. I've noticed that some will take pictures with their heads bent down or shades on and they look down with their eyes closed. So there's certain codes to let other guys know, hey, I'm available. You just have to look for the certain cues. And then there are guys who will tell you what's going on, guys that you're friends with. And they get treated wrong too by these guys that don't want anyone to know who they really are. So just be careful, be responsible for your own sexual health.